Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you?
I'm good.
You know what you did yesterday? You broke the internet. How are you?
You did.
No, you did. Good job, though. How are you two doing? Good morning.
Audrey, I'm great. How
you look great.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. I'm all right. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Come on, everybody. Let's break the internet again today. Dr. Abati, I'm counting on you. Tundu for the laughs.
We'll try. I don't think anything can beat that story. I mean.
TV go.
Yes, yes. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin what's trending in Nigeria with reactions to the Tanka explosion that killed over 30 people on Wednesday in Kogi State. According to reports, the tanker conveying petrol lost control and rammed into a tricycle and other vehicles before going up in flames. Eyewitnesses say some of the victims were students of the state's polytechnic. While the governor of the state, Yahaya Bello, has blamed the explosion on the deplorable condition of the roads. He accused the Ministry of Works and Housing of total neglect of the roads in the state, which has made life unbearable for motorists and commuters, while many Nigerians on Twitter have expressed their frustration. Let's take one tweet from Timmy Okpe, who wrote, "This disgraceful negligence must stop now. If a plane crashes, all similar flights are grounded. President Buhari, please declare war on dangerous heavy goods vehicles, temporarily ground all oil tankers over 10 years, and create a minister of state for HGVs." I mean, this is completely apt. We've been talking about this every time. One of the reasons for these accidents is because of these heavy goods vehicles tolling the same roads as regular vehicles. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. It's horrible. I mean, did you see the videos that were circulating online? These young kids burnt.
I didn't see that, and I will never watch that.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I'll be totally traumatized.
I mean,
but even imagining what happened, it's an unspeakable tragedy, and I'm absolutely furious. I mean, we ran out of time when we were talking about it during the newspaper headlines. NNPC last year unveiled a safe passage program. We need an update. What exactly is going on? What the NNPC announced last year was that they were going to work on, preventing these accidents. What has been reported now is that the tanker had a brakes problem. It's been reported. Brake failure. It is inexcusable. They have caused such devastation. No apology, no amount of compensation, which I'm sure will not even be offered in the first case, can ever make up for the lives that were lost. It's an absolute disgrace. And what is NNPC doing about their pipelines? Transporting petroleum products by road is not an option in 2020.
No.
We have to look into safer ways of making. Look at this footage. It's disgraceful. Children, a whole family.
yes.
It's so tragic. I mean, would you look at that?
Well, it's tragic, it's unfortunate, it's very sad, and we commiserate with the affected families, and we pray for the peaceful repose of the souls of all the persons that died in what is clearly an avoidable and preventable accident. But unfortunately, here in Nigeria, each time an incident like this occurs, we talk about it, and then we move on until the next tragedy occurs, and we lament, and we move on.
Yes.
And this is one tanker exploding too many. Either it's in Kogi State or even on the streets of Lagos, where we have had many cases of tankers, collapsing or, capsizing and, going up in flames. Now, a number of steps to be taken. You've mentioned the NNPC proposed program. The truth of the matter, which many persons have pointed out, is that these vehicles, either they are articulated vehicles or they are petrol tankers, should not be allowed to move about at certain times of the day.
No.
Even if at all
anywhere.
they should be on the roads. But we see petrol tankers moving at any time of the day. We see articulated trucks moving about, posing serious danger to the public. How many more of incidents like this do we want to have before we take a rational decision about protecting Nigerians from avoidable deaths? Second, there is a group called the Road Transport Owners of Nigeria, because these trucks are owned by certain people, right? On many occasions, Nigerians have appealed to these persons to make sure that their vehicles are in good condition and that their drivers are also sober. Because the state of mind or the sobriety or otherwise of these tanker drivers is part of the problem. They call themselves king of the road. Even when there is a notification, if this driver is reckless, call so number, it doesn't work. And so those drivers, they fall into a special, peculiar category that the Federal Road Safety Commission and even maybe the relevant section of the police should begin to pay attention to, because they drive as if they want to take you off the road.
Yes.
Now, roadworthiness, I think that's the responsibility of the truck owners themselves. Many of these vehicles or these trucks, they are in very bad shape. You see that two of the tires are bad. You just need to look at the tires to see that this is a dangerous object on the streets of Nigeria. In this particular case, we were told that it was a question of brake failure. Now, that brake failure, did it just happen on the spot? Or the brake had been given indications of having become weak, and then the driver was managing it? Because Nigerians always try to manage vehicles. Even when they have very obvious indications, they will not act on it until a tragedy occurs. At the end of the day, of course, I think this should be investigated. But the really sad part of it is that we don't have the capacity in Nigeria to even identify burnt corpses. In some other parts of the world, they have the technology. They will be able to take some samples and they will match, they will match one thing to the other and say, oh, these are the people involved. Many of these people who died in this particular incident, they've just died needlessly, just because they belong to a country where most things do not work.
Yes. Rufai, your comment, please.
I'm very sad today, very sad man today. And I'd like to say my very due condolences to the families of those that lost their lives. Most importantly, I pray God will help them to go through this very terrible time. What else to say? Tundu, you made a point about pipeline. What's the even condition of the pipeline in the first place? Is it not the same pipeline that is killing a lot of people in Lagos, and they will blame it on vandals? It's just indicative of the country we live in. And except we have a systemic change, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So if we say, okay, we don't want to take trucks, we don't want to use trucks to ferry products, we want to use pipelines, how are those pipelines properly maintained? That's the first question. Second question will be the associations of the owners of those trucks. You can't touch them because they are untouchable. They are so powerful in this country. And they know most of these challenges. A lot of them know that their drivers are drinking. A lot of them know that most of their drivers are not sober. Because look at the conditions at which their drivers drive. Some of them are driving for hours on ending, overnight. That factor is also there. So they know. They want to do a lot of work and cover grounds. Take petrol from here to Kogi, for instance. Drive through the night. How can a human being drive through the night and you expect him not to make mistakes? And that's what has led to the use of stimulants. These people are heavily on stimulants. I'm not sure if the Federal Road Safety Corps do a breathalyzer test for them. But if they do, I'm sure their alcohol or other forms of stimulants in blood will be very high. The third point I will make is the role of the roads, infrastructure. Apart from that accident, people that were interviewed around that area said, accidents are repetitive on that road. They have one too many. In fact, some of them said it might be diabolical means. That's why accidents keep repeating. The major reason is that road. We all know that road has been bad. We've not fixed it over time. And this also called for the question of rail. In other parts of the world, rail is used to carry products like this. But where are our rail lines? I don't know.
The rail lines, they are building rail line to Niger.
To Niger, okay.
That's my next story.
Dr. Abati, okay, to Niger.
We'll take it and we'll discuss
So where are the rail lines? We don't know. Dr. Abati said they are building rail lines to Niger. When rail lines can carry products to Kogi and the likes and save 20 children from dying. You talked about brake failure.
I have spoken to a lot of these drivers. These drivers will tell you that they told their bosses that there's a case of brake failure. They will say, manage it this way. Brake failure doesn't just happen overnight. Most of these brakes are sort of like the big pneumatic brakes, the one they call the balloon brakes. They don't just give way overnight. I think there's a servicing threshold. Maybe it's after 100,000 kilometers or 50,000 kilometers. You have to change them. But it's not changed. So let me tell you something very profound. Wole Soyinka said, the day we see injustice and we don't speak, the man died. It is a collective problem of Nigeria that killed those children, though. Honestly, that's what I'm going to narrow it down to. And except we have to fix all the structural problems, we don't get anywhere as a nation. On the flip side, I just imagine what those children that were going to school with their books would have become in the future.
Really
just maybe one of them will have been the president of this country that will change this country. But again, the lives have been lost due to something we can avoid.
We're talking about Wole Soyinka. What he actually said is, the man dies who keeps silent in the face of tyranny.
Yes.
So if we don't have infrastructure, we don't have the right kind of leadership, then that's a form of tyranny. And we should speak up all the time.
And then we start to blame it on voodoo and what have you. No, it's just negligence. It's government negligence. It's devastating. It's completely devastating.
Okay, Oji, we'll take a quick break, but we'll be right back. And what's trending will continue after the break. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Oji Okpe is still here with stories trending around the world. Oji, over to you.
Thank you. Well, reactions have been trailing the federal government's approval of $1.9 billion for the construction of a rail line that will link Nigeria to Niger Republic. The approval was given at a meeting of the Federal Executive Council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. At the end of the meeting, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, told State House correspondents that the sum approved for the development of the proposed rail line is inclusive of value-added tax. Well, let's take a tweet from a user, gentleman, who wrote, "We are yet to build rail lines from the Eastern Industrial Corridor, Aba, Nnewi, and Onitsha, to Western Industrial Base and major market hub, Ibadan, Agbara, Ota, and Lagos. But the Buhari-led federal government wants to build a railway to Niger Republic. Wonderful." What did I say? Wonderful. I mean, Tundu. Guys, we're just talking about this. This is absolutely absurd. Please, what is the meaning of this?
I don't understand it. $1.9 billion cannot be found to fix our roads.
Well, what is in Niger Republic that we need?
There is no economic benefits to Nigeria. I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. What exactly is this in aid of? Makes no sense whatsoever.
And we just had our children die on those deplorable
yes, we
roads.
can't fix our roads, but we can throw money down the drain as far as I'm concerned. $1.9 billion.
It's inexcusable.
Well, earlier on, I had mentioned some other rail projects that we have in Nigeria, which will be even of higher value. Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. If you open up Port Harcourt all the way to Maiduguri, maybe, that will be of greater benefit to Nigerians. Or you complete even Lagos-Ibadan rail line, which we're told is under consideration. Or you do Ibadan to Kano, and you open up the country. Once upon a time, there was a rail network in this country that worked, that helped with agriculture, that helped to open up trade across Nigeria. But now the plan to build a rail line with $1.9 billion all the way to Niger. I try to rationalize it, that maybe perhaps this has to do with crude oil coming from Niger and the refinery that Nigeria wants to build by the border between Nigeria and Niger. But it's also confusing. We're saying, for example, we're going to close down our land borders for an extended period for security reasons and other reasons. Now we're building the rail line all the way across the border to link Nigeria to Niger, with all the implications involved therein. Now, it is again confusing because it has generated a number of conspiracy theories. In Nigeria, dual nationality is allowed. And there are people already saying, well, some Nigerians who are also from Niger or who have Niger passports. They are more interested in opening up a corridor, which is not a trade corridor, you know, just a movement corridor to their other country. Whereas Nigeria itself still remains a closed space in terms of transportation and infrastructure. And it's because of such conspiracy theories that I think that the average Nigerian needs an explanation. And I believe the Minister of Transportation, who must have taken the memo to council, should not waste time in educating us, just in case we are ignorant. Because oftentimes ministers tell us that Nigerians are ignorant. So our ignorance here should be addressed, and we should be given an explanation, if that is the case.
Rufai, in India, they use rail to transport petroleum products as well as their pipelines. That could also have helped in this situation with Kogi. What business do we have with this going to Niger?
Rufai, a quick comment from you.
Dr. Abati, do you remember the Yoruba expression, Antundu, and Oji, when they say you are drinking alcohol or anything with a sieve? You know, when you are having a drink with a sieve, that's what we are doing.
It's like pouring water into a basket. That's what you mean.
That's it.
There needs to be a clear explanation.
So what it means invariably is we are pouring water into a basket.
Yeah.
I mean, you spoke very, very well about the things we need here in this country. And just imagine the cost, because I always ask this question: when we do infrastructure, how do we determine the cost-benefit ratio? Do we just do things because, oh, it looks good on paper, or there's a cost-benefit ratio? So if we are putting a rail line to Niger, how much will it bring back to the Nigerian economy year on year for the next 5, 10 years? How much will that rail line repay the cost used in building that rail line? We have Lagos-Ibadan that has not been done. We have other parts of the country that has not been done. So what I will ask the minister, and I will throw this to the minister today, Honorable Minister, or Minister, I would like to know the cost-benefit ratio in breakdown analysis of doing a rail line to Niger year on year for Nigeria. If you can convince me beyond reasonable doubt that that will bring 100 million naira or $100 million to the Nigerian economy, you can go ahead. But if you can't convince me, I don't think it's a great idea.
Well,
really.
let's hope the minister is listening. We'll take another story. Former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, has finally broken his silence on Pastor Izeyamu's defeat at the just concluded Edo election. Confidently speaking in a now viral video, the former governor said he was not affected by the party's defeat. Let's take a look.
In life, there is a superhighway. You work hard and leave God for the outcome. You do your best and trust God to bless your effort. I feel good. I feel healthy, thank God. I feel strong, thank God. In life, you win some, you lose some, but life goes on. I want to thank everybody. I'm sure a lot of people think that, oh, Cameroon must be down. No, I'm not down. Once God says you are not down, you're not down, and I'm not down. I thank Edo people for all they did over the past 2, 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. People under the rain, under the sun. Young ladies carry babies on their back. I saw elderly women struggling to see my small face. And on election day, I was moved to tears when I see women of 70, 75 sitting down because their candidate is not working and they are not frustrated. It inspired me that if at their age, you don't give up. Why should I give up? And I ask our people to have faith in our country. We cannot go to have another country. I have only one passport. I'm not about to apply for any other passport. This is our country. We must make it great. We must strengthen democracy. We must improve on it. No matter the outcome of an election or a particular edition of a process, have faith in God and have faith in our country. God bless you all.
Well, we'll take our final story. 3 Nigerians have made Time magazine's 100 most influential list. The 3 Nigerians include entrepreneur and philanthropist Tony Elumelu, 27-year-old Nigerian-American novelist Tomi Adeyemi, and cardiologist Dr. Tunji Funsho, who's also the chair of Rotary's International Polio Eradication Program in Nigeria. The list released on Tuesday is a compilation of 100 people from different walks of life who are making an impact on business, art, sport, music, and more across the world. Congratulations to our Nigerians.
So exciting. But I have a slight correction there. There are 4 Nigerians. Giannis Adetokunbo is on that list.
Oh, yes, yes, because our Giannis, we're claiming him because they describe him as Greece, but he's Nigerian.
I'm really excited. I mean, I've worked personally on many projects, including Benola with Dr. Funsho. And we're quite very proud about him. Benola, I mean, does a lot of work for cerebral palsy. He's quite a great man. I'm really excited. We've peppered them again. Nigerians, we can pepper them too much. Pepper them.
Well, I mean, congratulations.
Yes.
Not just to the Nigerians, but to all the 100 persons on the Time 100 list for this year. What is instructive about this list this year is that there are 54 women on that list, which is quite a record number. And for persons who say that, look, women are, making great headway, that's quite something to talk about. Secondly, if you look at that list, most of the people who have been recognized are persons who have shaped our lives in many ways in the course of 2020. 2 major issues this year, COVID-19, and then issues of race and equality and equity and justice. There is the Chinese guy who was the first to map the genome sequencing of COVID-19. He's on that list. Anthony Fauci, America's #1 doctor, as it were, who has been leading the battle against COVID-19, is on that list. You also have people like, of course, the First Lady who died in New York, the nurse, Amy Sullivan. She's also on that list. So you see recognition in terms of a major event that affected us. And then you also have the founders of the Black Lives Matter movement, which went global from America to every part of the world. So with this list this year, Time Magazine is making a statement about leadership, about how individuals can impact on their communities. And to come back to the Nigerians, I mean, congratulations in particular to Tony Elumelu, the chairman of UBA, chairman of Transcorp, chairman of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, chairman of Transcorp Energy, a man who has been able, to impact on his community, on his country, and also Africa, where he runs a program through which he promotes Afri-capitalism, what he calls Afri-capitalism, which is an expression of confidence in the ability of young Nigerians to become entrepreneurs and to create jobs and to innovate and to contribute to economic growth across all the 54 African countries. The young lady, the 27-year-old young lady, Tomi Adeyemi, I mean, she's author of Children of Blood and Bones, which is a book that was on the New York bestseller list, New York Times bestseller list for more than 27 weeks, and which has won so many awards. So young and yet so talented in terms of the narratives that she has put out there. And then Dr. Funsho, of course, who collaborated with Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation and the WHO to promote polio immunization in Nigeria. At the moment, Nigeria has been declared polio-free, and it's good to see people like him, making that contribution. What it means is that every individual can make a difference in society. And I think credit must also go to the Rotary Club, the Rotary family in Nigeria, because Dr. Funsho is a Rotarian. And you know that Rotarians across the world have been involved in the polio eradication project. And of course, for people who like entertainment, Mega the Stallion, is also on that list.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Abati. Thank you, Tundu.
Thank
you, Rufai.
Well, thank you very much, Oji.